Hi girls, it's Mr. Legg here again. Just another short screencast on measurement topic, the area of a circle. Really important one. So let's dive in. But just before we do that, please make sure that you've got your measurement notes that Mr. Wang would have given you, and that you turn to this page here. Unfortunately, I didn't have page numbers on the notes, but you'll be able to find it. It's called Area of a Circle 4E. So pause the video now if you need to turn to the notes and have a pen at the ready. All right, so learning intentions for this lesson, we're going to be able to find the area of a circle given its radius or diameter using a calculator. We're going to find the area of a circle given its radius or diameter using an approximation for pi. And then we're going to find the area of semicircles and quadrants by multiplying by a half or a quarter. So let's get into it. Hopefully you can remember that the area of a circle with radius r is pi r squared. Now there's two main formulas we remember when we're dealing with circles. One is circumference is 2 pi r and area is pi r squared. And the way I like to remember that the area one is the pi r squared is that area is measured in squares. All right. Why should you never get stuck in a conversation with pi? Because he goes on and on forever. He never ends. All right. Finding circle areas with calculator values of pi. Use the calculator to find the area of this circle correct to two decimal places. All right. Formula, substitute, answer. What's the formula for the area of a circle? Pi r squared. What's the radius here? Is it 10? I don't think it's 10. I think the 10 refers to the diameter. I think the radius is actually 5. So this is pi times 5 squared, or 25 pi. Now, we've been asked to find this to two decimal places, so we're going to have to use our calculator. You girls are going to use your calculators. I am going to use Siri. Hey Siri, what is 25 times pi? Siri is asleep. Hey Siri, what's 25 times pi?
It's approximately 78.5398.
398. All right, now we've been asked for two decimal places. So let's draw our little line here. Look at our critical digit. Is our critical digit 5 or more? Yes, it is. So we're going to round up the 3. Equals 78.54 meters squared, because we measure area in squares. All right, girls, pause the video for a second and have a go at this one by yourselves. All right, how did you go? I hope what you did is your right formula. Area equals pi r squared. Substitute pi times, what's r? The same problem here as we had before. R is that distance there, 4 centimetres. 4 squared equals 16 pi. Hey Siri, what's 16 times pi?
The answer is approximately 50.2654.
It's 2654. We've got two decimal places we need. Let's draw the little line at the two decimal places. We'll have a look at our critical digit. Is it 5 or more? Yes, it is. 50.27 centimetres squared. Hopefully that rounding part made sense to you. All right, now sometimes we're asked to do questions that have an approximation for pi, as opposed to just using your calculator value for pi, which has got 10 plus decimal places. And if you don't use the approximation that you've been asked for, you might actually get the wrong answer. If you just use your calculator value of pi, you might actually get the wrong answer as has been requested. So let me introduce you to these. Some of you may have seen these before. So one approximation that we sometimes use for pi is that pi equals 3.14 without any of the other decimal places. And the other approximation that we sometimes use is equals 22/7, which is a remarkably accurate fraction representation of pi. So let's now do a couple of examples that use these approximations of pi. In the first example, we're being asked to use approximation of pi that is 3.14. And the second example, we're being asked to use an approximation that is 22/7, but our method is going to be the same. Area equals pi r squared. Instead of using my calculator value of pi, I'm just going to use 3.14 times my radius here of 1.5 squared equals. Hey Siri, what's 3.14 times 1.5 times 1.5?
It's 7.065.
7.065. And let's continue with the two decimal places. Let's have a look here. My critical digit is 5 or more, so I'm going to need to round up. Equals 7.07 millimeters squared. There you go. All right, now this one we're being asked to use 22/7. And the first thing I'm actually noticing as well is that that the radius is going to be half of 3.4, which is 1.7 meters. Radius equals 1.7. But the method we use is the same. Formula, substitute, answer. Area equals pi r squared equals, and here I've just got to make sure I use 22/7 times 1.7 squared. Hey Siri, what's 22 divided by 7 times 1.7 times 1.7?
The answer is approximately 9.0828.
All right, let's have a look at our decimal places. All right, our critical digit, is it 5 or more? No, it's not 5 or more. So we can leave the 8 as it is. 9.08, what are our units? Meters squared. All right, hopefully that made sense to you. Just if you're given the approximation, you've got to use the approximation. That's really all you need to remember. All right, these two things here, these shapes that you can see here, are called semicircles and quadrants. Yeah, semicircle is this guy, and the quad divides a circle into 4, is this guy. And the question we're being asked here is, what proportion of a circle is a semicircle? Well, should be pretty obvious that it's a half. And what proportion of a circle is a quadrant? It's 1/4. So we can use what we know about calculating the area of a circle to calculate the area of semicircles and quadrants. Let's do a couple of examples. What's the area of this semicircle? Well, the area, if it was a whole circle, the area would be pi r squared. But it's not the area of a whole circle, is it? It's half a circle. So the area of a semicircle is a half pi r squared. In this instance here, we've been given the diameter, so we need to say that the radius is 1.8, which is half of 3.6. And I'll remind you again that you will have your calculator in the test, so if that sort of arithmetic is tricky for you, you can just use your calculator. So the area equals a half times pi times 1.8 squared. Now, in this example, they haven't asked us to use a particular value of pi, so I'm going to choose to use my calculator value of pi and say, hey Siri, what's a half times pi times 1.8 times 1.8?
The answer is approximately 5.0893.
All right, let's round this guy to 2 decimal places. And the critical digit there is a 9, which is 5 or more. So we're going to have to round the 08 up. So it's 0.89 millimeters squared. Let's have a look at this quadrant, this guy here. So he is a quarter of a circle. Yeah, so if it was a whole circle, it would be pi r squared. But here, we've got a quarter of a circle, so we're going to multiply it by a quarter. Now, what is the radius? Well, that's a bit tricky, isn't it? They've given us this length here, which is 16. Maybe that's the radius. Maybe one way we can work it out is if we had the whole circle, here, this guy would be right in the middle, wouldn't he? And this is the edge, so the radius is 16. So the area of this quadrant is 1/4 times pi times 16 squared. Hey Siri, what's 1/4 times pi times 16 squared?
The answer is approximately 201.0619.
0619. Thank you, Siri. Let's have a look at our critical digit. It is a 9, which is 5 or more, so we're going to have to round this one up. 201.62 centimetres squared, and I'm just working to 2 decimal places. So that's how you calculate the area of circles and semicircles and quadrants. So hopefully that made sense to you. Have a go at the practice exercises for chapter 4E in your textbook, and the practice exercises are on page 3 of your booklet, and see how you go, and reach out if you have any troubles. Thanks, girls. Good luck.